It is 8:30, it's time for the weekly meeting of the Mitchell County Board of Supervisors. We have an agenda in front of us. Item 2, we will delete the valid project update since Tom will not be here. Under item 8, items of note, I'd like to put C, FEMA letter. Is there further?
I have nothing else to add. I'll make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve the agenda. Further discussion, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. County attorney is not here yet. We'll go down to item 4. 2014 wage increases for targeted case management employees.
Well,
Looks like our targeted case management.
Did you hear anything from the attorney in Chickasaw?
No, I know
Reviewing
she.
that 2080 agreement?
Right, she met with them last Friday, and I talked to her just briefly about. She said the meeting went well, but I don't know if if they made a decision as to, coming together, or I'm not for sure. I don't know if it was just a meeting with Rick and the county attorneys. I don't know if that's. I don't think Rick's brought it to the entire board yet, from my understanding.
Sheila didn't attend that meeting?
She did, yes.
Okay.
She isn't able to be here today, so she asked that I come. So.
Well, this all got started because case managers are considered Chickasaw County employees, yet Mitchell County's supposedly an equal partner in the 2080. I think the 2080, if you read it, it says it was a joint venture. But whenever it came to discussing wages, well, it was always going to be whatever Chickasaw did. And they didn't want to hear, as you heard last year, in order to improve the budget. So that's kind of how this got started. But I visited with Megan and the case managers here, and
You talked about like a letter too. That was going to be a problem.
well, it's however we want to do it. Instead, that's what we want to do. Folks want to become Mitchell County employees, well, then you can become Mitchell County employees. So.
How many would that be? You and?
Me and Terry and Julie, so 3 of us.
Yeah. There's 3 employees in Mitchell County and 2 in Chickasaw. So the other way I thought that might work out is if the chair of Chickasaw, and those would be the only 2 board members on that case management, and they wouldn't have to come up with the wage every year. But the thing over there, they always, and when we had this discussion before, it was, well, we got 5 unions. Never mind that case management is none of it is taxpayer dollars, county taxpayer dollars. It's all Medicaid reimbursed, and it goes into the cost report. So.
Yeah, so we talked about either becoming Mitchell County employees or having the 2 chairs come together, and then if, say Chickasaw's 2 and you're 3, then come together and say a 2.5, like an average. And that was what Rick, I think, was gonna talk to his board about after that meeting, correct? I mean, that was my understanding, is to see if they would be okay
Right.
with
That's what
that.
Sheila presented to me at the county social services meeting. That her and Rick kind of talked to me a little bit over there about that. But the only thing I have a problem with that is you're always going to be the average of the 2. You're always going to have that little bit of. And I did get that note that you gave me from what the case managers make.
Yep, that was like 22 counties. Joel had asked that I give him just kind of an average of what targeted case managers' salaries are. And it was a salary survey that was done through CCMS, County Case Management Services, and it was 22 counties replied. So there was obviously a variety.
Right.
And it didn't have on there either like years of service, those kind of things either. But yeah, so I did get that too.
So I don't know. I guess we need to work it out somehow. I don't know what. I won't say anything. But when was this all started in Mitchell County?
2004.
2004.
July 1st.
I think we need to make some changes. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if we're in a joint venture, I think Mitchell County needs to have an equal say in whatever happens in that. As you know, we used to have joint board meetings. There was 5 of them and 3 of us, and so that was always a little lopsided in my mind. But after looking at the bylaws and stuff, it was still to come down to 2 votes. Well, it never really happened that way because the minutes always read that, you know, everybody voted. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up, let you guys know what was going on. I guess we can wait to hear what you have to say. But
Well, let's put it on then for next week again on the agenda, and hopefully we'll have some,
more information.
and maybe we'll have to get a hold of the Chickasaw board and explain that, like you say, maybe we can keep operating as a joint board, but we have our employees, they have theirs, or something like you said.
Yeah, I think that's what it should be.
Right, whatever the wage increase was in Mitchell County, that's what Mitchell County wants to get, and they can keep it that way. I mean, why would that make a difference?
I mean, you work here and you live here, I mean.
Yeah.
You should be paid here to have to do something budget-wise. We need to do that here pretty soon.
That's what I say, we should
Well,
really try to get that done next.
It comes through Chickasaw County anyway,
Or some way, or.
but your cost report will go in, you guys are getting X amount of dollars, that's what
Right,
it is.
correct, yeah.
It shouldn't,
Mm-hmm.
you know, somebody over in Chickasaw gets their nose out of joint over it, well, that's too bad, you know? Don't put that.
Cut that out, okay?
Cut that part.
That's fine. Well, we've never asked you guys as board's opinion.
No, I always got an odd feeling when we got together that, well, wait a minute, why are we even bothering to be here? You know, we can vote, but it don't mean nothing.
We put up with the same startup costs
Exactly.
and for wages that time.
Yep. We put in the same amount of money, maybe we should have been according to the number of employees. Oh, no, we would have put in more, we don't.
Okay.
Take that back. Anyway, yeah, let's talk about it again next week, see if we can't find out some more information but I.
You want to stay on top of it then? Okay.
Thanks, Megan.
Yeah,
Yep,
you're
thank
welcome.
you.
I hope
Morning,
they-
Mark.
Morning. We'll drop down to item 3, County Attorney General discussion.
Amazingly enough, things have been pretty quiet lately. Stan says you'll have to do something about that.
No, I'm happy about it.
They've been pretty quiet, haven't they? They have been, Mark. Yeah, things have been good over at my shop, so.
How many people you housing then, Greg?
I think there's 2 this morning, Stan, that are there. Yep.
No questions?
That's something for you, but
Okay.
I don't know if we want to get together and talk about that, or it's got that from the IRS and asking for us to do a 990. We've never done one before or had to.
I'll take a look at it.
Okay. They had sent something back in from, was it November, December, that signed,
That's,
so I made copies of all that.
That's if you're
And it's through
a
the banks.
501c3, isn't it?
Could be, and we are a 170, I think, that's correct.
I'll send him a letter and see.
Okay.
I'll take a look at it, probably, I'm just send him a letter and say, okay,
Okay. Thank you.
all right. Anything else?
Can't think of anything, it's quiet.
We'll drop down to item 6, approve the minutes.
They didn't change from one to the other. I'd make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Yeah, I read them, I'll second that motion.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes for discussion. Hearing none, vote by Morale. Walk aye, motion carried. Approve placing $50 in the land acquisition and capital improvement fund. It shows that Milt and his wife want to put $50 in the Brook fund. Over there for the Wapsie Trail over at
make that motion.
Second.
So moved and seconded that we approve putting $50 in the land acquisition and capital improvement fund and which part of it. Further discussion. Hearing none. Morel.
Aye.
Buckner.
Aye.
Walk. Aye. Motion carried. Meetings attended.
Meeting was canceled, moved to Thursday this week, so. And
I had a wellness meeting last Tuesday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Reviewed the fund balances. $350 worth of chamber bucks were issued for the Brand New You program. $250 in chamber bucks were issued for the Nutritional Fitness for Life program. $940 in chamber bucks were issued for the Maintain Don't Gain over the holidays, which was a program to not gain weight from Thanksgiving through the new year, into the new year. If you maintained your weight or even lost weight, you received $35 worth of chamber bucks. It's an easy program. Let's see. Peg Hansen or Lisa Shores will be representing Mitchell County Care Facility on the Wellness Committee. They decided to join. The winner of the NFL Nutrition Fitness Lifestyle $50 Visa card was Tracy Mooberry. Let's see. Now the Maintain Don't Gain, there's 38 employees signed up for it, 29 were eligible. 4 maintained their weight, 25 lost weight, 5 gained, and 4 did not finish the program. And that was about it.
Then last Friday night, had a individual from Riceville wanting to know more about the housing flood program that's still in existence, and they were trying to get see if they'd qualify in that for a house in Riceville. So I went over there and worked with them, and they'll be going down to the COG this week too. So that was the only meeting I had. Sheriff Beaver, did you have anything that you wanted to present to the board? Or?
No, I don't, unless the board would have questions for me. I guess I don't have anything to offer up this morning, so.
The only thing I would have is, did you get that thing up and running yet?
Yeah, we are operational, yeah, on a
Okay, maybe I'll stop in
GPS
after,
system. Sure.
if
Yep.
you're around, and
Yep.
because I got mine ready to go. So.
Yeah, come on in. I'll show you what we purchased. You bet.
Okay. Weed Commissioner, we got a letter from Nick Varga. He says he wants to resume his duties. I was very happy last year with our relationship that we had. Nick didn't seem to be real interested last year. And we
Well, he was injured, but he kept telling me he would give me a call when he was ready to go back, and I never heard from him. You know, he just never would return my calls and stuff. So I think the position is filled, as far as I'm concerned.
It's on a year-to-year basis anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't a
Well, would you want to send him a letter explaining that we had already filled the position?
Okay.
Okay. Item C, FEMA letter. I gave you all a copy of the Federal Emergency Management Agency's letter here, dated the 30th of January. And basically what this is saying, if I'm reading it right, that properties that are now showing up in the new floodplain map can be taken off of that. They will not be printing new maps, but we should be setting up a database, and I would assume that we would have our zoning person Mark Ross setting this database up. But if people can prove that their property is not in the floodplain, it can be taken off. And this is really what enclosure states. There's two of them. And one's on the Cedar Ridge subdivision, lot 25. I believe that probably belongs to Digger Mayer, because I was under the understanding that he was working on that.
Cedar Ridge, where is that?
That's
south of town here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the piece of property he eventually wants to build his own house on. And then the Rusthead subdivision, it says lot 10. Apparently both of those have been declared. But
That should be high and dry too.
well, there's part of it on the very east end, I think, is close to Turtle Creek.
Oh, okay, Turtle Creek.
Yeah, the rest of it was, as you say, way out of.
Okay, so say you get this taken off the floodplain, and then the next big rain comes along and they get flooded, then what?
Hopefully they have insurance.
Yeah, they must
Right,
have,
but,
you know, I mean-
then their insurance company's gonna come and say, well, wait a minute.
but again,
They have
they
to
can
prove
still
that
buy
they're
insurance, but they,
They have to prove that they're not in the floodplain though.
I mean, but
Prove something to
the
them.
nice thing about it is if they're not in the floodplain,
Basically, it's gonna give them one more chance.
well, there's always gonna be somebody that's not in the floodplain that's gonna receive damage. I mean,
Oh, sure.
it's just like my mother's house here 2 years ago when we had those real heavy rains. The sewer backed up in that, and you had water coming from the roof, and I don't know how many basements in St. Ansgar got flooded, and none of those were in the floodplain. But yet again, if we were to have flood insurance,
Yeah.
and you could buy it.
Yeah, I've had water come in our basement, you know, it comes in we have a basement window and that window well there, sometimes you'll get, but I've kind of solved that problem now. But takes a real heavy rain and a lot of wind and then it'll come in there.
But going back, they're asking to be taken out of the floodplain for whatever reason.
But that's been determined, that'll be determined by the DNR down in Des Moines. I mean,
And right, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that, but what I'm saying is, okay, now we finally got back out of it and we get regular insurance, but then the next big flood event, oh, you know, it's coming through our upstairs door, you know? Then they may look at it again differently, is all I'm saying. I mean, I'm just not saying it's good, bad, or ugly,
but if you're in the floodplain, apparently,
but you can buy federal flood insurance, can't you?
oh yeah, well, you can, it's gonna be, but the other thing that you can't get a mortgage on your house without it.
Yeah, I don't.
This looks a lot of government paperwork, is what it looks like.
I look like out there in New York with all those houses that got blown away in that Hurricane Sandy. I mean, why don't you build on the edge of the ocean then? You know, a lot of those folks are going right back, fixing up and.
Where they like to live,
you know,
close to the water.
Then they should be responsible to pay the higher insurance too, if that's really where they wanna build.
And maybe they do, I don't know.
I'm sure it'll go up.
I mean, part of the problem that we have is when a lot of these people built, according to the floodplain maps, they weren't in the floodplain.
Well,
I mean, and that's,
here in Mitchell County.
you know, and now they got shoved in, which some of them maybe should have been, and a lot of them shouldn't have been, you know. There was no rhyme or reason for the map. It's-
Yeah, right, I know what you bet.
So, I'll also try to get a news release or something to the newspapers explaining that, this is where local insurance agents and that can all go to Mark Ross and double check to see if anything's been added or taken out. I'm sure nothing will be added. Nobody's gonna ask to be put in.
Well, county engineers coming today.
No, we're plenty early, so I guess
We are ahead of time.
we can recess for 5-10 minutes. We're back in session. County engineer, you're up.
Layton Roads.
Really?
Yeah. Can't believe this little piddly snow we're getting, but we're getting it. It's one thing, Bob, you asked me about was, 4-inch asphalt out there.
Oh, yeah, I just comparing.
It's comparing, but what I did, I went a step further and looked at structural number comparisons. Structural numbers, and the structural numbers are up for argument with a lot of engineers as to what value you put on a rock base versus whatever, but I kind of threw some numbers together, and the structural number for the macadam stone with the seal coat was like a 2.82, and doing a 5.5-inch HMA with a 6-inch modified subbase was about a 2.92, so you couldn't even really put 4 inches down and be comparable with what we wanted to put before. And then the dollars are about, it's 200,000 more just for the asphalt.
Yeah, okay, I'm
So,
curious.
And then I threw a number in there for 6-inch concrete, which was a little bit higher yet, but the structural number is also significantly higher. Because we wouldn't put anything less down than 6 inches on a rock face anyway. We're doing the 4-inch stuff on our existing roads because there's already a structure there. So,
Understand.
just as a throw out to you to give you an idea what
What's the numbers?
for a 3/4 mile stretch of the seal coat at 20, this is 28 foot wide, and we probably have 20 foot wide, 25 foot there now, 26, but if we core down, we might be able to get a little bit more, but that's, on the seal coat, we were assuming we were paving the shoulder too, the full width, so we had something there for structure, so I used it to compare 28 foot wide asphalt, 28 foot wide concrete. Now, you could probably get by with narrower, but for comparison figures, that's what I did. So, last week I said it was like 100 and, I can't remember what I said.
150,000.
Yeah, I had a bust in my number. It's 176 for the 3/4 mile, 176,000,
For seal coat?
For seal coat. 376,000 roughly for the 5.5-inch HMA, and about 425,000 for 6 inches of concrete.
Wow.
So that's just the 3/4 mile stretch. But those are taking it and putting a rock base underneath everything.
Right.
So it's more than what we've done in the past.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna put something down on there, I don't see the need to do too much skimping to get a better structure. You know, we've got some frost boils in those areas too, so why not try to make it a little bit safer or sturdier. So
Is that on moment?
this would be for the valley, that little bike trail stretch that.
From Bailey up.
Bailey, yeah.
3/4 of a mile
So,
up valley.
that being said, I will be gone tomorrow through Friday at the Iowa Concrete Paving Association workshop, where Mitchell County's roads that didn't get put in last year's award are gonna be in this year's award pool. So, because they weren't completely finished at the time of when the ICPA came out to look at them, they put them in the next year's pool, so.
So does that mean you get a special seat at the hospitality room afterwards, or?
There are no special seats.
There's stands.
And then I just got a call from Sheriff's Department that our bridge south of town got hit last night or yesterday, so I'll look at that. They said there's some damages, so, on T38, so I'll take a look at that. And like I said last week, we should be seeing our mechanics truck delivered sometime this week too. They were supposed to go in to paint the final coat today and then let it cure and then deliver it, so we'll be seeing that soon. That's all I have for you this week. Anything from you guys?
No?
Not really.
Um,
Boys done a good job Sunday again,
Yep.
getting corners done, a few of those places that needed
You get some of that light snow and you just never know whether to go scrape it or not, but better to be safe than sorry, I think, so. I know it still got slick. I know even Friday night it even got a little slick and there was an accident south of St. Anne's Street. But there was an accident on number 9 too, so I mean, winter driving conditions, I guess.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I'm gonna go look at that bridge, if you've got nothing else.
Right on T38?
Yeah.
Can I just ask, whatever happened to that person that was filling the ditch and farming it? Wasn't there a discussion like
Oh, yeah.
last?
Yeah, we had that he had came in my office here a little while back, and we had a conversation. We were gonna wait till spring when we could actually see it again, thought out, so his intentions were to try to be able to mold the ditch a little bit better, but, I also informed him he was blocking drainage, so I didn't bring it up. I just said, let's evaluate this in the spring when the thaw comes, cause I've got a feeling you're gonna be backing water up, so.
Mow the ditch.
Yeah. Keep the weeds down, next to the field.
There are people that just love to mow. I got a neighbor
Well,
that.
you know, that's
I
one of
mow.
the things I just can't stand. I mean, I drive down the highway. I mean, when we farming 40, 50 years ago, nobody mowed the ditch.
Joel, gas is too cheap. That's
Well,
what I
now,
say.
who knows? The problem is they all got too much time on their hands. They got nothing else to do.
I don't, in a way, I'm not too concerned about them if they wanna mow the ditch. It sure keeps the weeds out of their, I guess it's appearance on their field, number one. They like to be able to see the end rows and everything else, but if they're gonna, and I know that the legislature last year allowed baling in the ditches too, and we haven't in this county, in either county, haven't really raised a fuss about farmers going out and bailing the ditches. So, I mean, I guess what he told me was his intent was he wanted to make it a little bit more mobile and then maybe harvest the hay out of it or something. But I said, number one, you needed to talk to us. So we'll get things squared away this spring with him and see what happens.
Yeah, I started mowing my ditch because the state was always coming in with their spray, and they're spraying my trees and everything else, and killing bushes, so.
Don't talk about you, Bob.
That's a state road.
He's in the state right away.
I'm on the state.
No,
No, but I mean, seriously, that's why I started, and I just keep doing it, keeps the weeds down, and, it looks nice too, but I mean, I did that just because they kept spraying all the time, and so I just, now they don't have to spray,
And I got a neighbor that waters his grass so it grows, so he can mow 3 times a week.
I understand those kind of.
I like walking in the grass barefoot when it doesn't prickly in the toes.
No, I mean,
I'm not gonna have a lot of my.
I guess
And I think-
teach his own, I guess.
and I think years ago, farmers were required to mow the,
I think back,
on the gravel roads, because I remember doing that as a kid, I had that old horse-drawn mower, and I.
looking through the list of ordinances, I think there was something back then about that, maintaining the,
Well, if
At least once a year. I
If
think.
he did have a water backup problem, that would only affect him, really?
but it also affects our road. If we keep that road bed saturated, I said, there's a problem there too. And he said, well, I can just get a pump and pump it out, and I bet dollars to
Yeah,
donuts that
right.
would never happen.
Yeah.
So if, maybe there's a way that he can get it to work and still get the water to flow, then we can work with him a little bit. But the biggest thing, number one,
Should
was,
have put a tile or a culvert in there.
well, and that's another option, if you wanna get the water to flow, technically, you're right, he's probably only backing it up on himself, but it also affects the roadbed, and it is the county right of way, it's not his to determine what to do with. And that was the biggest thing, I said, just talk to us, I mean, so.
Well, we've had some filled in before, I mean.
And
it's
a
not
lot,
that they
and
can't do
usually
it.
most people, when they fill it in, say, can we fill, they come and ask if they can fill it in, and if there's not a drainage problem, yeah, go ahead. But you gotta do this, and you gotta do this. So.
Well,
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I just
Okay.
wondered.
Yep.
is there anything else for the good of the cause?
We gotta go to the county care facility.
If not, we will stand recessed until 9:20.